Hey, you guys. So, I want to talk to you today about why I do not bemoan the patriarchy. So, listen, I'm going to set an alarm for 7 minutes. Be gentle with me. I know this is a little bit of a charged terrain, but I'd like to share with you some of the things that have really eradicated the languaging and all that it's associated with, all the victimization, all of the charge and polarization, all the vague, low resolution, who knows what we're really talking about kind of stuff, and how much that has freed me to actually be part of what could be argued the solution to the patriarchy. So here we go. We've got 7 minutes. I got a few notes for you. So here's what happened that really brought this up for me is that there was a woman in a class of mine, and she talked about the whale that never ends, right? So she was like, look, she had this experience, and she would tap into the patriarchy and all that was lost, and there would be this whale that just would never end. It was like, it felt like it could go on forever, agonizing for her. Her partner couldn't hold it. It was overwhelming for him, right? And of course, probably also got directed at him a little bit. And I understood her. And it wasn't, I felt there was thinking about it later, I was like, okay, there's something off here. It's not her pain, it's not her partner. Like, what is it? And what I realized is that I do not believe that we are meant to be used up by the agonies of the past in that way. Trust me when I tell you that I have encountered deeply and brutally much of what the amnesias and brutalities and forgettings and all of these, much of what has been lost, much of the grief of that, the cost of that, everything. I mean, I have a school devoted to remembrance, right? But what I felt like she was demonstrating in that case was like, oh, right, but not like this. We can turn poison to medicine, but only, by titration, by taking a little bit. We get the message, we hang up the phone. Yeah, there's all that, but our well ancestresses do not want us to be captured and imprisoned by what they may have suffered and then laid down. They want us to be made alive by it, right? And freed by it. Why? What else would they want for us? So it's not about bypassing it, right? It's about skillfully touching into whatever that is, the grief. And women go through this in the school all the time. I'm giving them practices and beauty ways. I'm giving them all that. I mean, it's like a treasure house of remembrance, right? And sometimes when they touch things there, what emerges is profound grief because it took this long to finally have this, and they should have had it forever. And what would have life been like if they had? And there is a moment, but I do not like them to linger there because it doesn't ever end. And we're not meant to serve that. We are meant to serve something greater, more than that, the deeper than that doesn't end. So that is one reason why, is that we don't belong to the agony. We belong to the perennial uprising. And that's one part of it too, is that the nature of the deep feminine is to be perennial. She does rise and fall. She does reveal herself and then veil herself in your own life, in eons of time, right? So it's there, this deeply entrenched belief that it was lost, that the lineage was killed, that, yeah, a lot of lineages were killed, and they're reemerging, always because they come from an ancient place that's bigger than this, right? So this part of why I took the whole patriarchal blob, all of that out of my vocabulary, is that I felt like it kept positioning me in a place that isn't true for me. I feel her. She's with me. I see her uprising everywhere, and she's been with me, and she's called to me, and I can find her everywhere, right? And there are times when I can't find her at all, and those are the times when she's veiled from me. So to me, there's something about the whole conversation there that is a little counter to my understanding of her true nature. That's another piece. So another piece for me over time is that I've really come to understand and feel that positioning myself in opposition to anything ultimately just makes me weak, and it's an unnecessary thing to do. So it's like, for me, this sense of like, okay, I'm not that, or I don't stand for that, or whatever. There's like a moment of clarification there. It's important, right? I was learning about the patriarchy 3 decades ago. Like, I've been in this for a long time. So, and those times, those moments in time and the learning and everything that was awakened in me was so crucial and beautiful and holy, right? So it was important. So if patriarchy is part of your languaging right now and it's meaningful, awesome, keep going. But I just don't want you to be trapped by it, because that's not what we're going for, right? So this thing about opposition, it's like, okay, so I got the terrain a long time ago. And from there, then it's just like, okay, well, how do I walk it? How do I walk in remembrance? How do I become what I know woman can be? Like, this is going to be a full-time job for me now. I can see that, So there's a way that I don't need to and don't want to position that awakening in me in opposition to anything, because I don't want it the strength of it, my knowing, to be in any way kind of got these training wheels or somehow strengthened and upheld by opposition to anything. What I'm moving toward and what I want to continue to be at the feet of is that which never changes and she is what is. And that's the incorruptible, and that's the real. So that's the ancient, and that's what I want to be closer to. So standing in opposition to something like the patriarchy what it means, and I've seen this happen for women, is that when they stand in such strong opposition to the patriarchy, when they find out new information, or they have a healing, or something happens that's counter to that narrative, they don't accept it. They can't receive it, because if they did, some part of their own deep knowing would have to be unmade. So I don't guide women in that direction. I want women to be 100% solid in just what they are, what they know, regardless of how things come and go in all circumstances. So that's another reason. Another reason is that it's just kind of vague for me, you guys. Like, at this point, and maybe this was because it was mine when I was young and it was a different world and all these things, but at that point, it made a lot of sense. And I kind of knew exactly what I was talking about feeling when I was coming to understand deep feminine spirituality and deep feminine sacred nature, really. But now it's just attached to so many things. It really is. I don't know what people are talking about, and it's conflated with so many things. Are you talking about greed? Are you talking about usury? Are you talking about historical something? There's a lot of things. So for me, it's just too vague of a terminology anymore, and it's too low resolution. What I prefer in conversation with someone else or in my own assessment of things is I really like to be like, okay, what am I sitting in front of? And the patriarchy is just too vague. And it's all the things. I like to be like, oh, that's greed. Okay. Right. Okay. That's usury. Okay. Right. Okay. Oh, that is desensitization. It's really important to me, in order just to navigate in a good way, to actually name what it is that I'm sitting in front of and what I will not serve. I think one of the dangers, and I've definitely seen this also, is that too often we become the poison that we are aiming to transmute, right? And this is what woman is so made for this. She's made to transmute, transform poison into medicine. This is much of what is going on, I think, in this whole thing about the patriarchy and all this stuff, is there is an attempt, there is a calling to transmute something, to take poison, take the grief, the brutalities, the loss, all the exile and amnesia and all of this, and to make it into medicine. But that is a hugely skillful art. And I think that one of the things that's necessary in order to do that well is to name the actual poison that you're in front of. And when it becomes this kind of big concept, it can get pretty slippery. And then it's also hard to notice it when we're becoming it. Right? So that's another reason. And I gave myself roughly 7 minutes, so we're about at the end. Basically, I wanted to offer this to you. I'm about to start the 10th cycle of her mystery school, and about to take women again through a 9-month journey. And it's like what I And when I was thinking about that, like what has one of the most important things that's been given to me by, well, being in this for 30 years, but also over the past 10 years, like this will be the 10th year of the school. It's like, okay, I've created, taught, and taken the content for a decade now. And one of the gifts that has been given through that is I don't bewail or bemoan the patriarchy. I am free of the wail that never ends. I am informed by it. And through it, I have been reconnected to my sacred nature and remembrance and so many, the skillful means that I need in order to be what I am here and serve what I know is holy to me, right? But I'm not beholden. And I do wish that for you. So I don't care if you use the word patriarchy or not. And I don't know what it means to you, but I offer this as just, this has been my journey with that. And finding what actually has freed me and what is actually true and where it all actually wanted to point me, right? So it's my offering to you why I no longer bemoan. Well, I kind of never did, but why I do not bewail or bemoan the patriarchy. And yeah, I love you guys. I love you very much, and you can join me if you want to. This is what we'll be traveling with. It's the more than, right? So rather than swinging on the pendulum between I've been oppressed and now I'm not, or it was patriarchy, now it's feminism, or it was matriarchy and now it's patriarchy. I mean, I understand, I get it, but that's still just a pendulum swinging, and you're more than that. You're wider, you're deeper. She is way wider and way deeper, and she's right there. So this is what we'll be walking with for the next 9 months, starting September 21st. You know where to find me. Love you guys.